Today we're going to start off with spotting phishing attacks, how attackers reach your inbox and how to stop them. And the main things we're going to look at is how to recognize it, resist and report. Okay? I'll show you the next one. So, phishing attack is the #1 attack, the way that attackers get into our systems. 90% of the breach start with a phishing email. And 1 in 3 will be able to click that crafted lure and fall for it. A small to medium-sized company falls for the lure, and it can cost them, on average, $4.9 million, which can cost quite a lot. As you can imagine, there's quite a lot of small to medium-sized companies in comparison to large companies. So, for example, $4.9 million ransomware attack can cripple a company like that. And that just happens in almost a median time of 60 seconds. By the end of this hour, we'll be able to spot the lures, slowly click, and report safely. What we'll be covering in the next 60 minutes. I'm hoping it's not going to be 60 minutes, I don't want to bore you all, so we'll try to do about 40 to 60 minutes. First, we're going to look at the threat, what phishing is, why it works, and psychologically behind every lure. The type: email, spear, whaling, smishing, phishing, and something called QR, quishing. There's going to be red flags that we need to review, with about 5 tells that gives a fish away, with examples on screen. So we'll review that, you'll see some examples of each and every single one of them, so you can understand it on an everyday basis. When you get an email, you'll be able to see it, recognize it, and spot it. And then, what to do with them. How to verify, report, and recover, if you've already clicked it. Then after that, we'll do a Q&A, and we'll just speak of, real-world examples. Anyone who's had some kind of experience of that, I'm sure some of you will have, because I definitely have a couple of them. And then we'll just go on from there. So, phishing is rising, and it's actually very hard to spot nowadays. On the left side, you can see a chart, and a chart is going by the millions. So from 0 to 12 million, and from 2019 till 2025, we can see how the phishing attacks have risen and how many reports there's been. So from 2019, you can see there's almost just under 1 million reports of phishing attacks. Okay, that's risen to about 2020 to being just over 3.5 million, and then now we're looking in 2025, where there's been 11.2 million phishing reports. Now the interesting thing about this is, while there's been quite a lot of reports, and we can call 11 and a bit million quite a lot, but in fact that's not a lot, because most of them, imagine 90% of the time, it doesn't go reported, because people don't recognize them, people fall for them, and they don't report it. So, cheaper to run, AI writes flawless lures in seconds, so no more broken English in the phishing attacks, okay? Bigger payoffs: 1 stolen credential can open file, emails, or financial details. Harder to detect, so lookalike domains and hijacked threads bypass filters. And I'll speak a little bit about that for example, Gmail, Outlook, and such email services have got special filtering services that capture phishing attacks. However, sometimes by the time they get into quarantine, if they get into quarantine, they're blocked off, but sometimes they can get past, because the new updates that hackers do all the time and the new phishing emails are so well done that even the phishing filters fall for it, okay? So, phishing is a fraudulent message, usually an email, but increasingly text, voice, or QR, designed to trick you into clicking a link, opening an attachment, sharing credentials, or even having to move money around. Okay? We all understand that. We'll go more in detail about that. So, who does it target? The targets are usually humans. Okay? It's not a computer that is targeted or anything like that. It skips the firewall by aiming straight at you. Okay? Exploit psychologically. Fear, urgency, authority, and curiosity. No technical skills to it whatsoever. And hides in normal traffic. Looks like a real email that you read every single day, and there usually isn't something that you'll be able to tell that it's a real one or it's not. until we kind of show you the main pieces here. Okay. 6 levers attackers pull on every time. This is important to understand because we all work in an environment where there's deadlines and there's timescales for all areas of work. And some of us can get quite anxious and there's quite a lot of pressure in work. CEOs, CTOs, deadlines, we're very busy with all that and we want to get done precisely. But sometimes we get a bit of anxiety, a bit of panic and stress can cause us to make small mistakes. We're all human at the end of the day, okay? And attackers will use that against us in the emails. So how do they do that? For example, urgency. In an email, you may receive something saying, act in 24 hours or your account may close. Fear, suspicious login from, let's say, Russia detected, or India, or Africa. You can review that and see that the email received, it says that your let's say, login for Outlook has been logged in from Africa. Most of you will actually react to it, have a look to see whether that is true or not, and log in via the login page given to you by an email. Authority. So for example, the CEO is asking with a bit of pressure from the top. You got an email from him asking to transfer some kind of an invoice, some kind of information needs to be added to more work, blah, blah. That's when hackers are using phishing emails to be able to lure some more information out. Curiosity. Here is the file that you requested. Or social proof, your colleagues are already approving this. So you may have members of staff. Imagine we're a small team, fairly small team of 60 people here. Imagine a company of up to about 200, 300 to 1,000 people. While each person works in a different department, you may know another colleague in a different department. And they're asking for some kind of information, and it says that they've approved already that. And you decide, oh, well, if it's been approved, I'll send it. And you started sending information over. Rewards. You've awarded £200. Now, I'm not saying that any of you will actually fall for that one, but people from ages of 18 to 50 don't usually fall for that reward type of scam via phishing. However, anyone above the ages of 50, so 80 years old, seems to keep falling for them. So for example, my grandparents, they keep telling me that they've won an iPad or an iPhone, won via the email. They get messages from TU, Wildberries and all sorts, which are potential scams. They constantly think they've won a reward. I'm saying to them, no, it's a phishing attack. They're trying to get some kind of bank details from you. Okay. 6 flavors of phishing you'll encounter. So email phishing, mass mailing doers, this was the main bread and butter. And that's what you will usually see on a daily basis, coming onto your spam, coming into your mail account if the filters don't work. Spear phishing, which is the personalized, they know your name and role. And I'll go in a bit more detail in regards to that. Everyone here will probably have social media. You will have a LinkedIn, you will have Instagram, you will have, Facebook. What a real hacker does, such as myself, our first area of trying to exploit something is try to gather as much information as possible. And where we begin with that is by getting to know you as a person via your social media. So let's say on LinkedIn, you will have the post of what company you work for, your full name, okay, your date of birth, and sometimes some people share whatever projects they actually work on. I myself, I work on quite a lot of cybersecurity projects. I get quite excited about it. I sometimes share some of the information without remembering that this information can be used against me sometimes as well. So I'm sure some of you may have posted that you all work at Actual Solutions, from what date, your name and everything else. Next up is whaling BEC, targeting the CEO, CFO and financial team. This is more of after the spear phishing, this is more when more information is gathered, we know exactly who the HR team is, who the accounts team is, and they become a better target because they are potentially more likely to get mixed up in all sorts of accountancy and payslip issues with the members of staff. And And don't forget, for example, the accounts team potentially will be paid up to, just in here, to 60 people their wages, okay? For one more person to be added in there accidentally by an email, I don't think that'll be an issue. For someone to pretend to be our shop today, send an email saying we've got a new member of staff, he's starting the next day, blah, 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 add him to accounts. So it's actually potential. Next is smishing. Now, smishing is one of my favorite ones because it's via SMS, and this is the one that I get most of the times. So smishing will be something like, let's say, UPS, FedEx, DHL, Parcel to Go. They always seem to actually messaging me saying when a parcel is coming from Amazon. And I know that that's what they do. Now hackers are doing exactly that, and I'm sure you guys will have got that. So as things are progressing, now there's called voice phishing, a phone call from IT. Some of you may have had a phone call from Africa or India, and they ask for your Microsoft details, or if you've got antivirus on your computer, and they're trying to support it. You may have won a reward on Amazon, and so on and so on. So that's the new step. However, we're going to go one more step further, and I'll explain it a bit more in detail down the line with this thing. AI is now involved in the voice phishing. So what we can do is I can record Ashok speaking for about 10 to 20 seconds, and I can turn his voice into a proper AI and make a call on behalf of him, and you will potentially fall for it. Okay? And then phishing is malicious QR codes in an email or a print. Okay? So, email phishing, and we'll start going each one by one, and I'll start giving some examples. You'll start picking up. I know it's going to be a little bit repetitive, but we need to keep it repetitive so you guys can understand it and see it as quickly as possible. So, email phishing, the bulk mail attack. How it works? Send to thousands at once. Generic greeting usually, just like, hey guys, or dear customer, or dear client. Usually something like Microsoft or DocuSign, could be your bank or a delivery firm. The attackers only need one person. So imagine if they send it to about 10,000 people and only 1% of the people fall for it, that's 100 people. That's already way too many people. So just to have a look at the example on the left-hand side, that's an email. Microsoft account team, no reply at microsoftsecure.co. Dear customer, we detected a sign from an unrecognized device to protect your account. Please verify your identity immediately. Verify account now. If you do not act within 24 hours, your account will be suspended. Now I know it's quite far away. Can someone actually see a mistake there at all? Zero. Great. Okay, perfect. So no reply at micros 0 FT. And then after that, it says secure.com, okay? So sometimes the zero can be seen as a no, especially when you're having a quick glance at it, okay? So that's a kind of an email bulk attack. We'll go on to the next page now. Now we can look at spear phishing, the targeted strike. Now, as I said, how does this work? It was more based on the personal preference on the spear phishing. Researched, the attackers have read your LinkedIn, your job title, manager's name, the project you mentioned publicly. The email looks like it's come from a colleague, supplier, or a client. Actually works with about a deal you actually have. Your spam filter doesn't have to catch this, okay? It doesn't have to catch this, especially if they're using a copy of your exact same domain. Microsoft can think, okay, this is a new domain that this company has and it's still under their own. Okay, let's review again. So Sarah Mitchell, ACME supply, .uk.co. Update invoice project atlas. Hi James, following our call yesterday, please find a revised invoice of the atlas rollout attachment. Could you confirm by EOD? We need to update finance before Friday. Thanks, Sarah. So if we notice anything like this, what I want you guys to be able to do is question every time. Have I dealt with this person before if I've received this kind of an email? Has anyone, any members of my staff, ever had to deal with someone called Sarah at all? Okay? Ask the questions. Ask the questions, okay? We'll go on to the next slide. Whaling and business and email compromise. The big fish attack. This is, again, targeting executives, finance, HR, or anyone with payment authority. Often impersonating the CEO, requesting an urgent wire transfer or invoice change. So, just like we were talking there, our shows, we've got an SMS one done via WhatsApp. So very similar to this is what's called whaling. It's about pretending to be the director of the company, the HR, the CFO, the CEO. So we take that actually very seriously. And it says here, BEC stands for Business Email Compromise, and it's actually the costliest of them all. So the FBI estimate that it has caused 50 billion in global losses since 2013. Now can you imagine that? $50 billion of a company falling because of the directors falling for an attack, just like this one. An email will look something like this. Quick favor, confidential, are you at your desk? I need you to process payment for acquisition. We're about to announce. Don't discuss with anyone. This is market sensitive. I'll send wire details shortly. Need this done in the next hour. So this is a sense of urgency. Someone's trying to push you to get things done. Why? Because if you're in a time state of urgency, then you feel yourself anxious, panicky, and alert, and you feel like you want to do it first. But before you make any decision on something like this, what you do is you get up, you go straight to the room, and you say to him, I've received an email like this. You seem to have said that it's urgent. I want to double check it's coming from you before I make any decision on this. Okay? So always check. Doesn't matter even if you check with a colleague next to you. So for example, if they get an email like this, they can always ask each other whether it's the right one or not, if it's a fake one or not. Even if the domain is arriving, it's exactly the same as yours. Okay? On to the next slide. Smishing and phishing, beyond the inbox. Okay? Smishing is text about parcels, text about rebates, bank alerts, short links hide the real destination. Mobile screens hide the URL, it's harder to inspect, easier to follow on. So this is actually exactly the message that I received the other day from Royal Mail. Now I usually receive Royal Mail parcels 2-3 times a week. And what we know so far is while Royal Mail has addressed everyone obviously in the UK, and Royal Mail gets to see who's going to receive what. Now we know for certain hackers have managed to compromise their servers, and they get to see who's about to receive what type of file package from what company. And this is the bit where a day before they will send an SMS message saying, for you to receive the package tomorrow, you need to send us £1.99. And usually a lot of people fall for it because they think, oh, maybe the shipper hasn't paid for it, I need to receive it. The hackers make about 22 million, okay, a month doing this. Okay, 22 million a month, which is absolutely insane. So, phishing, voice phishing, a call from IT support or your bank, asking to verify credentials, install software, or move money. AI voice cloning now lets attackers to mimic real colleagues from a 30-second sample. So like just I was saying, I can probably record voice for about 20 seconds to 30 seconds, and I even heard the way she speaks, the mimics, the accent, the characteristics will be able to be defined with the AI that we can use now. Some of you will be wondering what type of AI. Some of the AIs that they use is called bland.ai, and it's very amazing at what it does, and that's what they use. Even though the company themselves know exactly what it's being used for, they can't stop it. If they stop it, they're going to stop their own whole service, okay? Hi, this is Mark from IT. We're seeing malware on your laptop. I just need your password to lock the account before it spreads. One more thing. If you guys ever get a phone call from the bank, okay, and you're unsure, you can open the bank app at the same time, and usually really good banks will say to you, this is not from us. Because while you're on a phone call and the app is open, they check to see on who you're on the phone to. Okay? And this is one of their terms and conditions with the data gathering. They're allowed to do that. I don't know if how many banks do that or not. But, okay. Well, if they don't do that, then know that a bank should never ever call you. If a bank calls you, you put the phone down, you ring them, okay? And say, I've just had a phone call, and they were asking me this and that, okay? So actually, quite interesting fact, so I have a car here, and I don't know how I got a phone call saying that my tax needs to be renewed a few days before, and the MOT needs to be renewed like a week before. So somehow that company's already got the data on my car when it needs to renew, and they were trying to get me to renew it with them. Okay? So like the MOT. Yeah. So there we go. So this is kind of scams in Armenia as well. Okay? On to the next one. Okay, phishing. Instead of clickable links, the email contains an image of a QR. You've all seen QRs, so I'm sure most of you are doing multi-factor authentication. Scan the QR code below with your phone to confirm your identity. This will expire in 24 hours. Don't scan unsolicited QR codes from email. By the way, I put a random QR code because I knew some of you would start scanning it. Okay? So there's me explaining not to scan a QR code, and I see scanning a QR code. That's still going well, is it? Why it works. Email security tools scan links. They don't read images. You scan with your phone, leaving a protected corporate network. The phone browser hides the URL by default. Common pretext, multi-factor, reset, payroll portals, parking tickets, document sharing. Now, QR, you get to see them every single day. You get to see them at work, you get to see them outside. Now, even restaurants nowadays, you go to them and they ask you to be able to scan the menu via QR codes. Now, I always say, I don't want to do that, could you please give me a menu? Because while a QR code looks very pretty and it's very cool to scan it and get onto the link, you never know exactly what link it's going to push you onto. Okay? Even when you scan a QR code, it doesn't even give you 1 second to show you the link before it sends you to the actual direct. Okay? So I always advise to skip on QR codes. Okay? That's the best way of doing it. Okay, next one. Okay, go to 5 things to check before you click. Most phishing emails fail at least one of these checks. The next 5 slides show each in detail. So, number 1, sender. Always look at the actual address that it's coming from, because that's usually a dead giveaway. And I'm going to bring you an example in a minute of an email link that you can receive emails from, and you can tell the difference between a real Microsoft one and a fake Microsoft one with Microsoft embedded into it. Tone. Again, we said urgency, fear, secrecy. Number 3, when you receive a phishing attack email, one of the first things you should be able to do is, if there is a button in there, you hover over the button to see what the URL is, instead of clicking it. When you can see the URL, you'll be able to figure out that this is actually going to a malicious site. I shouldn't be going to it. Number 4, attachments. Any email you've got that has an attachment in it, you need to question the attachment first. If you're not expecting it, especially. Number 5, details. So we're talking about greetings, grammar, as well as formatting. And there's one thing missing there is formality. How well it's speaking to you. The formality always matters as well, how friendly it is inside the actual email. So, next one. To the sender address, past the display name. Display names lie, the address tells the truth. When you receive an email, you'll not always see the actual link, who it's from, you'll always just say the name. So when you receive an email, they'll say, let's say, from HR. They'll never say HR at blah, 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 blah. So the best way of checking that is always press on it to see the hidden embedded detail. Okay? So when Microsoft 365 sends an email, you can see that when you press on it, it'll show security at Microsoft 0ftaccount.com. This is what you shouldn't do. A0, not an O. Okay? We need to start keeping an eye on things like that. Domain being wrong. The main domain, for example, for Microsoft, as we know it, is Microsoft.com. You shouldn't include anything as Microsoft-account.com or .co. Okay? HMRC, usually UK and let's say Armenia, will never use just UK.online. They'll always have to use .gov.uk, nothing to do with online. With Armenia is an interesting one. We get to see AM, okay? Quite a lot of people will fall for ARN, okay? ARN together looks like AM. And sometimes people will not notice that. So check before trusting. Click the sender's name to expand the full address. Read it slowly. Look for letter swaps. Just like I said, RN will look like M. I will look like as 1. O will look like as 0. And when you're quick scanning an email, that's something that you can just fly by without even noticing. Okay? I myself have already made that mistake when I had to do some kind of a phishing test experience myself. And trust me, it was boring, but I had to do it. And you click on certain emails to see which ones are right and which ones are wrong, blah, blah. And I fell for the RN and the O as well, by the way. Extra subdomains, paypal.account-verified code. That's never going to be like that. It's always going to be .com versus .co, .gov versus .gov.uk, okay? Free domains, Gmail, Outlook for corporate senders. When you're receiving an email from a company, it should come up as a corporate company email. Okay, do we all understand what I mean by that? So it shouldn't come from @Gmail, @Hotmail. I always don't respond to a company that's going to send me something like that. If they're not going to send me I'm not going to take it seriously. I'll skip over it and look at it as a spam. When in doubt, the real organization domain is in your address book, or simple, just go online, search the site, and try to find the email address on there. Okay? Tone, urgency, fear, and secrecy. Real organizations don't pressure you, but phishers do. Manufactured urgency. Within 24 hours, all your account will be closed. Stops you verifying, confidential, don't tell anyone yet. Bypass careful thinking. Action required immediately. Trigger panic, not logic. Your account has been compromised. Click here to avoid being charged. So a threat and a countdown. Only you can help. I'm in a meeting. Authority plus isolation. All of these are what's known as social engineering. And this is a part where quite a lot of members of staff fall apart in because they panic. Again, like in stressful environment, deadlines, it's important to understand this. Any type of email you see like this, question it. Straight up question it. And one of my favorite things that I have ever read in regards to this, if a message makes your heart rate go up, slow down. That's the goal. Because when your heart rate goes up, your blood flow is higher, your adrenaline's higher, okay? And you're not thinking as smart, okay? Check everything. On to the next. If we hover over a link, the link, this is reset your Microsoft password. It's a link that you will receive from a phishing attack. When you hover over it, you'll be able to see exactly what type of URL is embedded underneath it. So this one, login microsoft-online.service update -secure.root off reset ID. So everything after Microsoft here should not be on there. Okay, there isn't such a thing as Microsoft online service update -secure.online.root. So again, hovering over every single button in the email will be able to reveal this. Long press on a mobile, if you're on a mobile phone, if you press on it long and hold it, okay, you'll be able to reveal the URL link, so you can review it, understand whether it's a fake one or not. Read right to left, just like we've just done that there before. You can see the real domain, and then you can see the actual fake information after that, the incorrect malicious content, okay? And off go to the next one. Attachments, surprise files are dangerous. If you weren't expecting it, do not open it. File types that should make you stop. So .exe files, most of us will know they are Windows files. If you are running a Windows file and download a .exe file, it can activate itself if it's got a DLL as well. This is actually a special code that can run on its own, and most of the time will be a ransomware attack or some kind of malware or virus. .zip hides the real file inside. .html opens a fake login page from your inbox. .iso bypasses mark of the web protection. .chem, word with macro, classic delivery. Everyone here will receive PDF files quite a lot. Now PDF files are actually the most used for exploits. Everyone opens PDF files without even reviewing the data information or even the bits in it. If someone receives a PDF file and you're uncertain of it, contact one of the security team members and we'll be able to run a special scan on it to see exactly what actual script is running inside it, if it is embedded scripting or whatever. Even safe formats, Word, Excel, PDF can carry malicious links or scripts. The format isn't a test, the expectation is. So to give you an example, sometimes it's not just a .pdf. Sometimes it will come as, let's say, file.exe.pdf or .php. Sometimes it's double formatted because the ending format of it isn't going to be what's going to be running it. It's usually the first format of it that's going to run. And the first format is usually not seen by you. But the image of the .pdf file will always not look right. Okay, so look for any pixels on the file itself. Even opening up on information, like right click on it, open, review the information. File size always varies as well. And usually when you receive a file, like a PDF file, it'll be up to about 3-4 megabytes. Okay, review it, even if it's in kilobytes. Just check it out. Details, the small stuff that gives them away. As I said, the generic greeting, dear customer, dear friend, dear family member, or whatever. Your bank knows your name. Wrong branding, old logos, slightly off color, blurry images, mismatched fonts. This actually does happen a lot more than you'd expect. So for example, okay, while our team works over there, our IT director over there showed me one of the emails that they received. Now we've had a rebrand, yeah? One of them has showed me that they had an email coming with a blurry old logo, okay? We're being able to capture that as well. So that's a good example. Mismatched context, an invoice from a vendor you don't use, a delivery you didn't order. Subtle grammar slips, old phrasing, missing articles, capitalized customer mid-sentence. Inconsistent signatures, wrong job title, missing legal disclaimer, unusual phone format. If you are dealing with a third-party company and they're sending you some kind of an email and you're interacting with them, I would recommend you check their footer on the email. It's usually good to see that they've got, let's say, they'll have, let's say, company director or company CTO, whatever. Underneath will be his email, his phone number, and his email, a link to his website, and probably a picture of as well. And any type of standards and certifications they also embed in there as well. So that's a good way of realizing whether they are being the real company contacting you or not. Doesn't quite reply right. Reply all to the thread, but the response doesn't match what was said. So if If you are in a contact with a third party, you receive an email, the email doesn't actually make sense at all, it's a bit of gibberish, and you know for a fact that they don't know what they're talking about, they're trying to get involved in the conversation and they're nowhere involved in. Okay? On to the next one. Putting it all together, now let's spot the flags. At number one, obviously the wrong domain. Real DocuSign uses DocuSign.com. Number two, mass mailed undisclosed recipients. I'm sure most of you will have seen undisclosed recipients. Now, on social media you see that, on the WhatsApp you'll get that, on Telegram you'll get that, so keep an eye on that. If you see something like that, undisclosed recipients, that means it's not just you receiving that, it means there's multiple people receiving exactly the same thing as you. Manufactured urgency subject line, which is the link will expire in 2 hours. Number four, generic greeting, not your name included, just a dear customer. Or five, don't forward, stop, you need to verify that again. Okay? AI has written the rule book now. Old advice was watch for bad spelling and grammar, and also the formatting as well. AI has completely renovated that area to the point that it looks absolutely superb. Flawless writing. Generative AI produces native quality English in any tone. Voice cloning, as I said, the audio mimicking a colleague's voice. Deepfake videos. So actually, I can take a picture of now, yeah? Just a simple picture of and I can create a video format with AI, and then I can FaceTime you and ask for you to transfer some money. And we can actually make that very believable. So, I hope that doesn't happen to us, but it's a potential thing that can happen now. Hyper-personalization, AI scrapes LinkedIn, use in social posts to tailor each message. Using AI now, such as ChatGPT Claude, I can put details of, let's say, I'll say, please look at his surname and his information, and he will literally try to scrape the whole internet to bring that up. That's OSINT now. Okay, so that's all full information gathering of each person, which I know that AI is trying to fix that, but I don't think they'll ever get there, because even now, you can find pictures of a certain person from, let's say, 20 years back, which is absolutely insane. Okay, the rules is don't trust the message, verify the channel each time. Nowadays, whilst there is a technology there to check whether it's AI written, actually, even some of the AI systems that like trying to figure out whether it's AI written are completely wrong. The best way to verify is do your own verification, is check yourself. If you spot a fish, what to do? So this is the 5 steps of making sure we're safe from a phishing attack. Don't click, don't reply. Not the link, not the unsubscribe button, not even this is spam inside the email. Whatever you do not press any of the buttons inside that email box. Number 2, report it. Use a phish report on Outlook or Gmail, or forward to your security. Now Gmail and Outlook have a special report phishing button on the top right corner. Okay? If you see it, report it. Otherwise, the best way of doing it is take a screenshot of the actual phishing attack or the phishing email. Send it via to myself on Slack or any of the security team. You can also do it send to and we will literally review it straight away. Any type of phishing. So we can understand it, we can put it into quarantine, review it, block that domain as well. Delete after reporting. Don't leave it sitting, don't forward it to a colleague to warn them. Number 4, tell colleagues properly. If others are likely targets, let security send a coordinate alert, don't start a chain. Okay? Whatever you do, if you want to show it to your colleague, do not forward them in. Okay? Some people, I've heard some people do this in another company. They forwarded a phishing attack to a colleague of theirs to verify whether it's a phishing attack. That person then clicked it and then placed it in their credentials. Okay? So, there we go. So that happens as well. If you clicked, you don't panic. but we need to act super fast. And by I mean we need to act super fast, we need to act within the first 5 minutes. We do not punish, honestly. That is true. We don't we're not going to get super angry and punish you, but we need to act quite quickly with it. Unplug network cables, turn off the Wi-Fi to stop malware spreading. So we're soon going to have all of the networks all connected together. Okay, there'll be a fully shared drives and all sorts. There's reasons for that. It's not just because we want to be able to control everything, it's because of cybersecurity protocols that need to be put in place. So we can control the role basis here on who can see what. But at the same time, that also comes with a bit of risk. And the risk is a phishing attack happening and someone falling for it. So at that point, if something like that happens, you need to disconnect the computer straight away, disconnect it from the Wi-Fi to stop it from spreading. Report immediately, call IT security. Time is the single biggest factor in containing damage. Change your password. And I'd recommend changing your password on all of it. So for example, changing your password on your personal as well as your work. I know most people use their personal password to their actual main work passwords as well. Okay? You need to rotate them. My recommendation is every 60 to 90 days of rotating your passwords. That is just the best case scenario. Don't use your name, okay? Don't use your birth dates. I know it's hard to remember it, but I would recommend having a 12, at least a minimum of 12 character password, including upper cases, lower cases, numbers and symbols. Please do that, change it every 90 days. Check your multi-factor authentication, review your multi-factor authentication and active sessions for anything you didn't authorize. At that point, if you have fallen for a phishing attack, you need to be able to disconnect from all the other ones that you're logged into. So for example, if you're logged into a certain application, in the settings there's a way that you can disconnect all the other devices that you're connected into as well. So you do that as well at the same time. Watch your accounts for the next 30 days, review your bank, review your emails and account activities for any type of anomalies. Help us learn, so telling the security exactly what you saw, what you clicked, and that improves us with the training, okay? So I'm sorry for putting you through this really boring one today, but we have to. It's a necessity to be able to get through this. Verify through a different channel. If a message asks for money, credential, or urgency, verify another way. Don't verify via the email. So imagine replying to that actual email saying you've been serious or is this real? Call the number in the email, click is this you? Use the email's contact form, forward to a colleague, just like I said. Do use a known good channel. Phone number from your contacts, walk over to their desk, so if you're in the colleague has emailed you and you're not unsure of it, walk over to the desk, verify it. Type the company URL yourself, use the official mobile app as security. That's why we exist in this place, okay? 3 ways to flag a phish report button, forward an attachment. If the button isn't available, forward the email as the attachment, not in line in your security, that preserve the headers, okay? Screenshot the whole thing, everything. So I personally would ask everyone to screenshot the domain it's come from, the subject, and then the actual full email so we can review it as well. Phone security team, if you've already done click, reply, or send money, pick up the phone, don't email. So fastest, use this first, preserve the evidence for active incidents. With things like this, we're constantly learning. And with the ISO, we need to put incident response into this organization. So if a phishing attack happens and we fall for some kind of ransomware attack, we need to have an incident response plan to understand how we deal with that risk, how we analyze it, and what's the best way of getting through it. I'm not saying that's going to happen to us, but us going through lectures like this is going to help us avoid situations like that. And I hope, touch wood, we don't have to go through it, because I have had to deal with a company going through a ransomware attack, and they had to pay about $12.3 million, okay? And hackers literally just didn't even give us the information that they were supposed to give. They just completely deleted everything, okay? You are the strongest control we have. Filters and firewalls block most attacks. The ones that get through reach a person. And that person is you guys. So, recognize, slow down when a message demands action, check who the sender is, determine the link. Number 2, resist. Don't click, don't reply, don't share credentials, verify another way. Number 3, report. Use this button, tell security, even especially when you're not sure. When in doubt, always ask, okay? I'm available 24/7, okay? You can email me at any time. You can email at any time. You can contact worst case scenario. Okay? So, yeah, any questions, guys? Are there any risks in Wi-Fi in other places? Yes, there's always a risk of connecting to Wi-Fi in different places. So, for example, quite a lot of attacks happen inside a hotel. I personally never connect to a hotel Wi-Fi. It's the worst one to ever do. Because other people can what's called crack NG, M1NG, the hotel Wi-Fi, and then there's also what's called a man-in-the-middle attack as well, where you can gather all the information that is going through the traffic. Or they can switch that Wi-Fi off, create themselves a Wi-Fi hotspot, in which you connect to theirs thinking it's the actual hotel one by changing the name. So yeah, I personally, when I'm in public, especially if there's a Wi-Fi with not password on, okay, I never connect to it. I look at the encryptions and I try to avoid that. Personally, use your own mobile personal hotspot to be safe, but sorry. Well, if there is a password, I personally still don't, because you're still connecting to, imagine you can have 254 people on that IP address. On that router. One of them could be a hacker gathering information, and if you're going to be doing personal stuff, they can capture your traffic, review it. Okay, nowadays, so there's actually very decent applications which you can download on the App Store for Android, which are actually antivirus and anti-phishing calls and spam calls. They actually have a registry of phone numbers that ring you, which are known to be scams. So for example, every time I get a call from a random number that I don't know, even sometimes if I do pick up, okay, I put the phone down and I report it as spam. And the more you report it as spam, it works just exactly like an email does, okay? For example, if I have an email domain, the more I use it, the more natural it becomes online, and it gets known to be a normal usage email address. However, the more I send, the more it falls into a spam, the less that email address is well known, okay? It always will go into junk. So exactly the same thing is happening with phone numbers. So I personally, when I don't know a phone number, I never pick up. I just put report, okay? And then later on down the line, I might meet a family member and be like, we tried ringing, and I was like, there's a random number, I don't have it. Yeah. So usually, I always tell people to text me their phone numbers before I can verify. Yeah. Always double check on that before you actually make a call or answer the call. Why would you pick up a phone to a random phone number? I've done this exact same lecture, and a couple of very interesting questions got asked, so I would like to share them as well and give you the answer as well. So someone asked, what about emails from people I know? Okay? Attackers compromise real accounts. If a request from a known contact is unusual, especially financial, verify by phone regardless. So that exact email that you received, I'm sure the first thing you did is pick up the phone and be like, I've just received this email. Okay? So that's the correct way of dealing with that. How do I know your security team's email is real? Type it directly or check with your manager, don't click a link and claim from us. And then one really good question someone asked, is it okay to use personal email at work? It's not. So one of them things that I don't want to see at all is anyone using any personal emails at all. Personal email lacks the same security controls. Phishing sent to your Gmail can compromise your work account if passwords are reused or you access it on a work device. Okay? I would recommend no one access their own personal emails from the work computers, basically. which is something that we avoid. Okay? Guys, thank you very much.
Obrigado,